Are your content efforts up here, but your sales down here? Are you ready to take your content game to the next level so you're not just creating content, but you're actually getting paid because of it? In this video, I'm going to share with you 4 stress-free content secrets that is going to help you gain more visibility, grow your audience, and as a byproduct, make more sales. But I first got to make sure that you are operating with the right definition of content and have the right perspective of social media. Social media is not a platform for you to get something from. It is a platform for you to give something to, but a natural byproduct of giving is you getting. And yes, you've got a great heart, you're really good at what you do, you can serve a lot of people, and your intentions are good, but you're creating content with the energy of getting the sale. And the moment you're putting out content with that energy of getting the sale, it's literally like putting repellent inside of a bottle and spraying your audience saying, stay away from me. It's client and customer repellent. People don't want to gravitate towards a person online who they feel needs something from them. And that's what happens when you're creating content with this needy energy. We all know what it's like when someone's really clingy. It's like, give me my space, right? And so that's what's coming off inside of your content when you are trying to get the sale and you want people to pay you. They are not going to feel like they're being served by you. They're going to feel like you need them when the truth is they actually need you. They need your solution, your message, the way that you help them. But that's not what is coming across when you are using social media as a platform to get something from. Now, the correct definition of content is an expression of who you are, what you do, and who you serve. Who you are is your values and your beliefs. Just by the nature of my office setup, you can tell some things about me and things that I value and things that I believe. I enjoy reading books and knowledge. Hence, there is a bookshelf back here. So you've already made a decision about the things that I value and things I believe. I also have a picture on my wall here that has hustle crossed off and it says align because I'm in alignment with God's purpose, God's vision for my life and the way that I operate. So just by the aesthetic alone, you have gathered some data about who I am. Now, the what you do is the way that you help people, and that comes through in your language, the way that you speak. So, this channel is about self development, content, and sales. And then the last part of content expression is who you serve. So, the words that I am using is indicating to the audience if my channel, if my platform is for you or not, if my platform can help you. So it's really essential that you see content as the expression of who you are, what you do, and who you serve. The problem is that people have been looking at content as a dear diary and they're telling all of their stories, but they're making their stories all about them. So that means you have now become the center of your content, the center of what you're putting out online, but you're not making your audience see themselves in the stories that you are telling. That is the whole purpose, is you want your audience to see themselves in what you are saying, in what you are doing. Just think about a movie, for example. You very likely have identified with a character in a movie based off of the actions that they were taking, how they were operating, the emotions that got stirred up inside of you. That movie was telling a story, but the story made you feel attached or connected to one of the characters in that story. So that is the way that you want to create your content. It doesn't mean that you don't talk about yourself or you don't share stories about you. It just means that you learn to tell it in a way where people can see themselves and now identify with you the way that you solve an issue, a problem, way that you've overcome a challenge that gives them insight into their own life. You want them to identify with parts of your story, not just looking at you saying, ooh, look at me, look at me. That is not the purpose of content. It is to serve your audience, to serve people, to help them see something differently. So before I dive in to the 4 secrets, I don't want you to glaze over this and thinking, ooh, that's basic. It's often the basic the basic foundational principles that people often overlook and try to make things way more complicated. It's human nature to try to make things more complicated, but it doesn't need to be. So don't overlook these four secrets. And these secrets are also meant for you to refine over time. It is not meant for you to just do it one time and then never again. You want to refine over time. So let's dive in. The first secret is to know who you are talking to. Who is it you imagine on the other side of the screen? So let me just paint this picture. Let's say that you were in a room and there was kindergartners, there were elementary schoolers, teenagers, and adults. And you were talking about fitness. You're going to talk about fitness differently to a third grader than you are to an adult. And so if you don't know who's on the other side of the screen with however you're helping people, whatever kind of content you're creating, if you don't know who's on the other side of the screen that you are serving, then you don't have a clear picture of how to express in your content that you can help these people. Because a third grader is not going to understand anything about fitness the way that an adult would. At a third grader, you're now helping them learn how to maybe take care of their body. Maybe you show them a couple of, motions. Maybe you talk about, hey, you want to really start taking care of your health. Whereas an adult, it's like, all right, here's how we work health into a busy life. It's completely different. So you want to make sure that the message you are sharing matches who you imagine on the other side of the screen. When we're able to create an image in our own mind, we naturally have an energy in our content that will attract the people that you are imagining. If you're imagining adults, you're going to attract adults. If you're imagining a third grader, you're going to attract a third grader. And I'm not saying you're making content for a third grader. I'm just using it as an example. I hope y'all get my drift, right? So this channel is about self-development, content, and sales. And so on the other side of the screen, I imagine an entrepreneur. And maybe this entrepreneur is already making 10 to 20K a month, or maybe this entrepreneur is just getting started, but they have an aspiration. So my content will speak to entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs who have an online business or some kind of a message that they want to put out into the marketplace. I know in my mind who's on the other side of the screen. So I want you to imagine who that is. And as you grow in your journey, with whatever it is you help people with, as you get better, who you imagine on the other side of the screen might actually change over time. And this is why I say this is to refine over time. You don't just say, okay, I'm talking to this group of people, and then you never revisit it again. Oftentimes we feel stressed out because we don't have clarity on who we're talking to. And maybe we've been talking to a certain group of people for an extended period of time, but what you haven't realized is that you've evolved, but you haven't changed who you're talking to. So maybe you were talking to third graders, but now that you've evolved, you're talking to adults, right? And so as you grow, who you speak to will also grow. Okay, secret number 2 is to know what you are talking about. You want to have an overarching theme of your message. So for me and this channel, this is about online business growth. And then you want to take that overarching theme and you want to put your message into buckets. So my buckets on this channel is self-development, content, and sales. So what are your buckets that are a part of your overarching theme? Now, what's really cool about having buckets is that even if you want to talk about something different outside of the overarching theme, or I should say outside of your buckets, you can actually take that thing that you want to talk about and connect it to something in your bucket. So, for example, I recently did a video on 2 Bible verses that are able to get you through challenging times because they got me through challenging times. Now, that might not seem related, but here's the cool thing. It's related to one of my buckets, which is self-development, because I value self-development because I understand that business is not just about what we know and what we do. It's also about who we are. And so as a self-development, bucket on my channel, an angle that I'm going to take is in my faith. And so I'm bringing that as an expression in my content. And so you can talk about many different angles of your message, but having the buckets can be a really great way for you to frame what it is you are talking about. So, the third thing is knowing your primary platform. What platform are you going to focus on in order to grow? So, there is YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and probably other platforms that are out there, Threads. There's so many different platforms. But you're either going to go from long form content to short form content or short form content to long form content. What do I mean by that? So, YouTube is a long form content platform. Yes, there are YouTube shorts and you can create some 1 minute videos, but YouTube essentially is a long form content platform. So, what you'll do is you will make this, for example, a primary platform, which means you will learn the ins and outs of YouTube. You will learn the strategy of the platform of your choice that you are making number one, get really good at creating content for that platform. Then you can redistribute and repurpose the long form nature of this video into shorter form pieces of content for other platforms. I have found that when people are stressed with their content, it's because they're trying to be on every platform, but do it in individual ways rather than just taking a one piece of content and then redistributing that content to the different platforms. So I personally like going from long form to short form. So I will take this long form video, chop it up, make it into reels for my Instagram and my Facebook, but I will also turn that into written pieces of content on my Facebook, on my Instagram, and for LinkedIn as well. So I've taken the concept of this video and shortened it down for those other platforms. Now, you can also, maybe you're really good at doing short form content. And so you can start with an idea, put that in short form content in a reel or on a TikTok, what have you, and then taking that idea and then talking more about it, going more in depth, and then creating something long form on YouTube, a podcast, what have you. So you want to go from long form to short form or short form to long form and redistribute in that way. So YouTube is honestly my favorite. And I think for a lot of people who have just really deep messages that we want to put out there, YouTube is such a great way to get your ideas out there in a long form way. And it also allows you to then take those bite-sized pieces that make those other short form platforms so much easier for you to be on. Another cool way is also to test your messaging, test your ideas on a short form platform. So maybe you have a short post on Instagram or Facebook, LinkedIn, where have you. See the signal of the people that are already following you. And if that one post takes off, now you can create a video about it. Or if you have an idea and you make a video about it and the video takes off, now you can bring that back down to bite-sized pieces of content for the short form platform. So we're either going short to long or we're going long to short. And so that way you can be on all platforms, but without it taking up your individual pieces of time. Secret number 4 is learning the ways to improve your communication. I have found that you're not stressed because you're not good at what you do and you're not concerned that you can't help people. You're stressed because you're like, how do I take my idea and make it into a piece of content that people have an easy time consuming? This means that you have to learn ways to improve your communication. This is all about thinking and not thinking from your own brain and your own knowledge tank, but thinking from the perspective of the audience, the people that you are serving. And when you can think from their brain, now you can make a connection between your knowledge and their problem. So this is how we start to improve our communication. This is not about you putting your knowledge online and hoping that people get it. This is all about you understanding how your knowledge serves people and how your knowledge is now able to be displayed online that people can now have an aha every time they see your content and go, ooh, I get it. You're making more connections for them every single time they consume a piece of your content. And so if you are just putting out your content, but you're not improving your communication, you're going to get frustrated that nobody is getting you. Nobody is seeing the value that you're putting out and nobody's buying and nobody even knows you exist because your visibility is not growing. But it's not growing because you haven't yet improved your communication. So communication really gets you paid. Like it really gets you paid. And content is about communication because you are expressing who you are, what you do, and who you serve. And so you want to be an effective communicator so people can pick up what you're putting down. If they're not picking up what you're putting down, then you are not communicating with your audience. You're showing up and like telling your audience, but you're not communicating with them. You're not connecting these dots. So this is all about refining each of these individual four secrets. Comment below which of these four do you need to work on? And so I want you to recognize that this is how you're going to be less stressed and how you're going to have more success, how you're going to have more visibility, more growth so that you can have more sales. Share this video with somebody who you know can also benefit. Chat with me in the comments to let me know which of these four elements you are going to work on or that you need to prioritize or refine, and I will see you all in another video. Bye.